Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you, General. Thank you. And it's my honor to be here joining the panel to present about China's threat. And I'm really glad I do my speech follow you because you have very clear distinction on what is Chinese people, what is the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah. So Chinese Communist Party actually is totally alien to Chinese people, totally alien to Chinese traditional culture. And they sneak into China in the early 20th centuries when the old Qing dynasty collapsed, when people would try to seek new ideologies, new way to lead the society. Chinese people were so desperately needing some new ideas. So communists sneak in. But embedded in the communist gene, there are the violence, there are the lies in there. So Communist Party keep lying to Chinese people all the time and use violence throughout the last 100 years, make Chinese people suffer so much. And after they take power, we know very clearly more than 80 million of Chinese people die unnaturally under the communist regimes. Because every 5-10 years, there are different political movements cracking down on different sectors of the societies. Even just within 3 years, between 1959 to 1961, more than 30 million Chinese people die, starving to death, because the Chinese government's terrible policy is called Great Leap Forward, try to catch up with the United States and the United Kingdom, and causing so many farmers starving to death. And they actually lock down those farmers in the village. They don't allow these farmers to go outside even to beg for food. Tragedies keep repeating in China under the communist regime. And like Frank mentioned, I was a survivor for the Tiananmen Square massacre. I was just a freshman in the college, and I was fortunate to join so many students and civilians, to protest against government's corruption at the time. But on the night of the persecution, on the night of the massacre, we see Chinese PLA march into the Tiananmen Square, and they open the files, and you can hear the gunshot hitting the monuments. I was lucky enough to join with a large group of students withdraw from the Tiananmen Square on the dawn of the June 4th, 1989. But when we passing the Chang'an Street heading north, tanks passing by, and students were scared, and one of the students petrified and fell down to the ground. The tank passed by and stopped, intentionally rolled back, crashed the student's head. It happened just kind of right in front of my eyes. We were so petrified, we were so stunned by this crime the Communist Party did to its own young people. And you never forget about this. 30 years passed by, you never forget about this. So I was very young, but I have a clear taste of what Communist Party can do to its own people. And then 10 years later, when I already in the United States, studying microbiology, and the Chinese government started to crack down one of the largest religious groups in China. It's called Falun Gong or Falun Dafa. It's an ancient Chinese meditation system centered around Buddha school teaching, focused on the teaching of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. And it has 5 sets of exercises, kind of like Tai Chi and yoga, to improve people's physical conditions. But even just because Falun Gong grew even bigger than the Communist Party, they decided to crack down the group. Just imagine in the United States, if you are in the bicycle group, your bicycle group is even bigger than the government allowed it. The government decided to crack it down. So because of the persecution, millions of people lost their job. So many people were put into detention center, labor camp, tortured. And one of the evil crimes they did is actually organ harvesting. So this is not a small-scale organ harvesting done by gangsters. This is a Chinese government state-sanctioned enterprise. Because they suddenly got about millions of people in the detention center. They realized they suddenly got a huge live organ bank. So they can test it, your blood type, tissue matchings, collect all your biometric informations, and they build a database nationwide. So when you, as a foreigner, you go to China for organ tourism, right? The transplant center had a demand, and they search the database, find a match, and then they go to the detention center, labor camp, kill that prisoner of conscience. Take the organ, ship to the transplant center, make huge profit of it. That's how Chinese transplant center nowadays can advertise on their website. Come here, we promise you in 2 to 4 weeks, find you a kidney match. While in the United States, you usually wait 2 to 4 years, even if you're lucky to find a match. And if it's a liver transplant, they only need to wait 1 to 2 months in China. While in the United States, you need to wait 10 years. And the United States has the most sophisticated, matured donation system, donation registration system. Well, China, on traditional belief, people don't donate their organs. People believing we need to have an intact body even when we pass away. So Chinese government try to say we have enough donors, but that's an excuse because you can see the percentage number, how many people register as organ donors in China. And Chinese government also make excuse. They say we only use executed prisoners. But nationwide, every year, they only execute about 3,000 to 4,000 people. How do they account for tens of thousands of people went through organ transplantations in China? Where does this organ come from? So last year, the China Tribunal, which is an independent tribunal investigating about organ harvesting, and this was led by Sir Jeffrey Nice in United Kingdom, and they found a conclusion, this is organ harvesting is happening in large scale in China, and it's still ongoing. It's a state-sanctioned crime. And human rights lawyer David Mehta said this is evil that the whole earth have not witnessed before. You kill innocent people and they make profit from their organs. And it's a nationwide industry, billion-dollar industry the Chinese government run. Military hospital, civilian hospital, all engage in this. Yeah. So can you imagine, this is how Chinese Communist Party can treat its own people. And they use this tactic not only against Falun Gong practitioners, now this practice against so many different religious groups. Uyghurs, right, Muslims in Uyghur area in Xinjiang in China, and also Tibetan underground Christians. As long as you're incarcerated, you become part of the live organ bank in China. And last year, there was a coalition to advance religious freedom in China established in DC. Because so many religious groups have to unite it, whether it's Tibetan, Christians, Falun Gong practitioners. We have to unite it because Chinese government is waging a comprehensive war against all religions. The fundamental issue is the Communist Party is atheism, and it's against all religions. And they have used all kinds of measures to crack down people's belief, because any people have independent thinking, have this desire for freedom is a threat to the Chinese government. Even during the outbreak of this Wuhan coronavirus, right? At the beginning, when the Wuhan city locked down this big city about more than 15 million people, right? Many of the taxi drivers, thousands of taxi drivers, they organize, try to do self-organized helping. The Chinese government canceled this operation because it's not government-sanctioned operation. They don't want people to have the ability to organize themselves. That's how Chinese Communist Party run in the society. They want to control your mind. They don't want to control your self-support capabilities. Everything from your birth to your death, you need the Communist Party's approval. Just like the one-child policy, right? The government can allow you to have 1 kid or 2 kids. The government has the authority. They are the God. They are the one above all your religious belief. They are the one dictate who will be the reincarnated baby for Dalai Lama. Right? So they want to be the God behind all religions. That's a threat not only to the Chinese people, It's a threat to the whole civilization, whole humanity, because they are the one trying to be the God beyond all religions, beyond all deities. That's why a lot of time we kind of sometimes feel that as a distance from China. You know, a lot of time people say the Communist Party can evolve, can change when you use a different foreign policy, right? Engage them or appeasement. You know, you hope the Communist Party is a normal government. They can evolve, they can change with enough foreign pressure or even with financial opportunity. Let them join the international community. But no, the Communist Party's ideology is so evil, it will never change. They don't care people's life. The key issue for them is to maintain their own power. They are great on the power. So in this way, so many Chinese people die unnaturally, and then now they through their barrel initiative and different technology, they are putting their threat globally. And so that's why we feel it's so important we're on this platform to address this threat comprehensively. And now you see from the public health aspect, the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak is not just affecting China alone. So many countries around, right, also got so many cases happened. So it has the potential to develop into a full-blown pandemic. That's because Chinese government sealed the information in December and early January. They didn't tell, Chinese people didn't tell the world what exactly happened in China. Even doctor who exposed the detection of the SARS-like disease in Wuhan, he was silenced. He was brought to the police station and he silenced, and then later he died. That's why so many Chinese people are really mad about this cover-up of the true information, and that brought the threat to the whole society, not just Chinese people, to the whole world. So just a quick summary that Chinese governments, you know, you can see how he treats Chinese people, and you can imagine how he would treat United States people and how they present a threat to the whole world.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lin.